is a vampire werewolf romance. So it's only fair. Also, this is linked to my bio. Self-promotion aside, let's get into some werewolf movies. Something I noticed, finding just a werewolf movie, a lot harder than a vampire one. I don't know what that says about us as human beings, that we can easily create vampire fiction without the need of other supernatural creatures, but werewolves normally gotta be attached to something. There's probably something in there to discuss further. Anyway, let's actually get into the list. I saw some of y'all's comments. I did not forget about Van Helsing. I just put Van Helsing in the werewolf category. Mostly because Vampa's got enough. And also, Hugh Jackman was on some shit. Kate Beckinsale was on some shit. She was also in Underworld, too. And I didn't mention Underworld, because Underworld is in that same weird zone in my brain as Ultraviolet and the Aeon Flux movie. Like, there's pretty people in leather, but I don't remember anything about the plot. But you can bet your ass I remember Van Helsing. This shit was wild. The opening scene with Jacqueline Hyde. I wanted to smoke a cigar so bad. I had no idea what the fuck they were, though. Okay, so this is a movie from my childhood. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Essentially, Shaggy gotta race some motherfuckers so he don't turn into a werewolf. It's from that weird age of Scooby-Doo where it was just like Shaggy and Scooby. Do y'all remember? For a long time, they tried to have just Shaggy and Scooby, and then they tried to have Shaggy, Scooby, and Daphne. It was a weird era. I almost put the Ghoul School on here, but that doesn't technically count. But Reluctant Werewolf does. Okay, so technically, this isn't solely a werewolf movie, but this is an anthology movie, and werewolves aren't one of them, and I'm just saying, what Akasha did to my brain as a child for vampires, this movie did to my brain for werewolves. Like, hot shorties and body horror? Honestly, I love Trick or Treat, and if I ever had the opportunity to adopt the baby boy Sam, I would in a heartbeat. I don't care that he's a demonic pumpkin. I love him. Next, we got Ginger Snaps Back. I need to tell you something hilarious about this movie. I thought this was the only Ginger Snaps movie. Lo and behold, this is like, I think either the second or third installment to an entire series. I've never seen the original Ginger Snaps. I've never seen the sequel to the original Ginger Snaps. I've only seen this one. And I loved it as a kid. Essentially, it's set in like the 1600s. These two sisters are wandering around. They get to this fort. One of the sisters gets bit. The ending scene with the fort and the wolves and the, oh my god. Once again, did something to my brain chemistry. Did something to my brain chemistry. I don't need to explain an American Werewolf in London. I don't need to explain this damn movie. It's a classic for a reason. The transformation scenes, the ghost, the guilt, the drama, the horror. Love it. Adore it. It's great. Honestly, as a kid, I don't know why, but this and The Fly were in the same compartmentalized space in my brain. Like they just had similar vibes to me. This is not a movie I watched, but I need all of you to know Helen Keller versus Night Wolves. Based on the title, it's probably ass, but I needed y'all to know that this is something that exists. Okay, let's move on. I unironically adore Little Red Riding Hood. I love this movie. I think it's such a cool, like, gothic twist on the Little Red Riding Hood story. The way the werewolves are done, I really, really like. Like, this is just a good movie, and the soundtrack has no right to go so hard. There's this one scene where they're all dancing because they think they killed the wolf, and there's a song called The Wolf in the background, and when I tell you, middle school me was bumping that shit and wiggling and waving just from the deliciousness of the vibes, I'm not kidding. Amanda Seyfried, shorty was putting her whole heart and soul into this. She was like, I already kind of vibed with her because of, you know, Jennifer's body. But in this one, too, I was like... Also, there's that weird sort of, like, oh, is it gonna be a love triangle? But it's not, immediately. And I love that they didn't play with your emotions or anything. Like, Shorty was like, no, I love this dude. We've been friends. Like, you a good guy, but you don't got a chance. I really just like this fucking movie. I really like it. I think the twist was, like, genuinely cool. And finally, this was a newer one, The Cursed. This is a more interesting take on werewolves. I really like it. It's set in, like, I think it was 1600s France. You get to see how absolutely shitty Europe has always been to the Roma people, which, like, shout out for, like, showing that they are a disenfranchised people that get shit on and not, like, just scammers and thieves. But yeah, The Cursed is wildin'. There's a lot of, like, capitalistic undertones within it, and of course, you know, there's aristocrats and all that sort of BS and all that. Like, aside from the werewolf chicanery. And, like, it's a really cool, like, period horror piece. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's one of those, like, weird movies that it's kind of like, how did this get made? Like, if you like period pieces and, like, period dramas with horror, I honestly recommend it. And I really like the look of the werewolves in this, because it's, like, it's different. But yeah, those are my favorite werewolf movies. Like I said, there's not a lot of werewolf movies, at least that I have seen. But if you want a werewolf vampire romance, you can check out my book Branches.